Welcome to You Can Call Me Goddess, because you're so much more than a queen. My name is Manuk Vink. I am a trained intuitive energy healer specialized in transforming your body and your life. In this podcast, we are going to be diving into everything to unlock the goddess that you are within you. Think of it as the ultimate glow up from the inside out. It's time to unlock your power. It's time to unlock your magic. So sit back and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another You Can Call Me Goddess podcast. And in today's podcast, I want to talk about something that each and every one of us, I'm sure, struggles with at one level or another. And when we think that we've got it figured out, we still seem to come across, or at least I have come across moments where I'm like, oh no, I haven't fully cracked this code just yet. And I think this is going to be very, very important. I know it's extremely important in you navigating and creating the life that is meant for you, because without this component, it is going to be very difficult, and you are going to come across these obstacles that you need to overcome or to grow through in order to start tapping into what you are truly capable of creating. And these are some of the hardest things to shed. But with my recent trip and the people, the beautiful women that I met and got to connect with on this trip, this came to the forefront, and in a really great way, actually, because it allowed me to see this from a completely new perspective and also understand that I am not alone, which even though I know that, and I think everybody knows that, sometimes hearing it and seeing it and just evaluating it from a different perspective allows us to fully letting it land. So what I want to talk about today is the biggest obstacle, one of the biggest obstacles that we all face, and that is not feeling special. Now, first of all, I want to say it is not your fault that you don't feel special. I mean, look, or if you have moments where you don't feel special, because I want to dive into that today, because I definitely have worked, at least through my own experiences, my self-image has changed so much in so many magnificent ways over the last years. And I can see the change and the difference and the way that I feel about myself, the way that I see myself, the way that that is translating in my reality, the way that people treat me as a result of that. It is absolutely insane how powerful it is when you start honing in on your self-image and when you start seeing how truly valuable you are. But even when you've done so much work on self-image and you feel super confident, your higher self, the universe, is going to make sure that you fully iron out every piece of that self-confidence, that self-image. So I don't know about you, but you get put into situations. I have been put in situations where suddenly my self-image takes a hit. And I start questioning myself and if I'm capable and if I can do this. And this is where the ego starts to act up again. The human self starts to doubt itself again. And these limiting beliefs come to the forefront. And like I was saying in the beginning, this is not your fault. We have literally been programmed to doubt every single step that we take, to question our value, to not see our value, to not see ourselves as special. If you look at today's society and even where I'm living, like, let's just look at body image, right? And how we view ourselves. We are all morphing at the moment into the same thing. And we're morphing into the same thing because the powers at the top, the social media and the media, is deciding what is attractive and what is not. So in order for us to feel special, which is actually absurd if you think about it, in order for us to feel special, in order for us to feel seen, what we do is we start transforming into this ideal that society has created. When in reality, who decides what is ideal? What is ideal is your uniqueness, is what you bring to the table, what makes you special. If we all end up morphing into the exact same thing, then how boring would that be, right? Like, what is special about all looking the same and doing the same thing and living the same life? I don't think that there's anything fun about that. I don't think there's anything unique or special about that. At least that is how I view it. And that's what we're going towards. And again, it's not your fault. It is literally the conscious collective that is affecting us. Even when we look at, what actions society wants us to take by a certain age, by a certain time, when it comes to career, when it comes to having kids, when it comes to your relationship, these are all pressures that get put on us from the outside world and how we're meant to look, how we're meant to eat, how we're meant to do things. When you start connecting with your true core self, you start seeing that maybe all of that does not apply to you and to live your best life. Because don't we all just want to live our best life? We're not living our life for somebody else. We're living, no, we're not. We're living our lives for us. And through living our lives for ourselves, we are way more capable of impacting other people's lives. So I just wanted to touch upon that because we can get into the cycle, where, we start beating ourselves up for not having healed our self-image yet, or not being where we should be yet when it comes to the self-image healing. I catch myself so many times when I start doubting myself, or I start questioning, how I view myself, if I'm doing things correctly, if I should have handled something differently. I catch myself beating myself up about beating myself up. And then you just stay in this vicious cycle where you're constantly beating yourself up. And that doesn't help. And as you know, beating yourself up can lead to a lot of physical issues if you're mentally beating yourself up. So we want to try and not do that and see the balance in it all and see the perfection in everything, even when it can be hard to do that. So the balance, the good and the bad. In every situation, there is good and there is bad. So there is a positive to you doubting yourself. It is bringing to light the areas that you are still ironing out, that need attention to shift your subconscious to start tapping into new levels of yourself. Which brings me to my experiences over the last weeks and the clicks and the perceptions that I had. So in this line of work, in what I am doing, I have the privilege to connect with so many powerful people and women that are extremely talented, that put out amazing work, that have amazing ways of seeing things, connecting things, that grow in a way that I'm like, oh my goodness, right? And being around these amazing women is so inspirational, but it can also lead your ego to take a hit, or your self-consciousness to come up, and your self-image and those insecurities to come up. Now, there's a reason that that's coming up, and it's actually really good that it's coming up. And I'm going to explain that to you as well. Through my journey and through my experiences, I feel like I have grown so much when it comes to self-image healing. The way that I see myself, the way that I put myself out there, the way that I am in relationships, especially in romantic relationships, with my body image. Sure, there are moments where it fluctuates, but in general, I have never felt better about myself than I have now. And as a result of that, and this is the cool part about that, when you start seeing yourself as perfect, your body, your beauty literally starts reflecting that. Your body responds to that. Your skin, your weight, everything responds to how you think about yourself subconsciously. So when you start actually seeing your beauty, that starts going outward, that starts showing on the outside. But it starts from within. And I'm sure you've seen that so many times, right? People that work through and heal things. And as a result of them, that they get a massive glow up. It starts from the inside and then goes outward naturally, because our body holds on to these limiting beliefs and these limiting blocks. Now, having said that, and maybe some of you are in that phase right now, or you're still working through those self-image blocks, or you're wondering why you're struggling with your body. Well, a result of that could be simply because subconsciously you are beating yourself up. Subconsciously you are not loving yourself, and that is causing you to struggle with certain physical symptoms, and your body's literally just trying to explain to you what has been holding you back subconsciously and in the way that you view yourself. Now, I say this super confidently and like, oh my God, yeah, we figured it out. I have not figured it out fully yet. I am still on that journey with you. And there is a lot of beauty in that, because I get to explain something that I am going through as we speak, that I'm working through as we speak, that a lot of you are probably experiencing in different ways. And today I'm going to explain it to you through my experiences and what I have found this means and how we can start to shift our perspective from this, because holding on to the feeling of not feeling special, not seeing your power, not seeing your uniqueness can lead to blocks in your life. For example, think about not being prioritized in the relationship. Think about building your career and you see people around you getting clients and they are popping off, and for some reason you're not getting there. Or people are booking a call with you, but they don't end up investing with you. So they book a free intake and they don't invest with you. Or people are saying, hey, I've got something that you might be interested in, and then they never follow up. All of these things, and in relationships, for example, when a partner doesn't follow through with promises, when they do not prioritize you, even though you've screamed at the top of your lungs that you feel like you're not being prioritized, all of these things are a reflection of how you view yourself. And a big component of that is not seeing yourself as special, especially if you are a high frequency being. And I can almost 100% guarantee that you are, if you are listening or drawn to this podcast, then you are going to experience this on different levels, because your higher self and the universe wants you to lock this in so bad that you're going to be challenged every step of the way to see if you can still see how special you are, so that you can fully lock in on that, because it is a secret ingredient to getting everything that you want in your life. And the reason that things have not been moving is most likely because you are not seeing your value, you are not seeing your worthiness, and you are not seeing your uniqueness and what makes you special. So today we are going to start hacking that. Now, as I said, I went on a trip, right, to the US. You all know that. I've talked about it in the previous podcast. And there have been so many experiences on this trip, little things that have allowed me to click things into place. And this is why it is so important to go out there and live life, because you're not going to experience things. Clicks are not going to come to you if you don't go out there and you experience them. So if you're feeling like you are hobbiting in your house and you just want to hermit and don't want to go out, I highly recommend try it. Try going outside and experiencing and connecting with people, because go on an adventure that you've been holding off. Do something out of the box and you will start to experience things that are going to allow you to make clicks that you would have never made had you not gone out and done that experience. I went on this trip and I got to connect with fellow intuitives, energy healers that I had connected with online through courses that I've done. And now we got to connect in person. And that was absolutely amazing. And like I said, these are incredible women. Some of them have already been on my podcast, and some of them I am working with. And it is absolutely amazing having met them in person. Now, through my journey with the work that I do, I go to a lot of training calls. I'm constantly expanding. I'm constantly expanding my gifts, expanding my trainings, looking at different avenues to help and heal people. And through that, like I said, I am connected with these powerful, amazing women and people that are also extremely talented. Now, I thought I was getting somewhere with, and I was getting somewhere with my self-image. And I was like, yeah, I don't feel that way in my friend group anymore. I don't feel that way here. I don't feel that way in my relationship anymore. I feel super confident in my relationship. I feel way more confident in my body. I feel very confident with what I am capable of doing. I'm very confident in my gifts. I'm very confident in what I put out there. But of course, the universe is going to orchestrate a situation and a container so that I can fully shift through and shed all the self-image blocks that I am experiencing, and it will do the exact same for you. So you got to look at it again a little bit like levels in a game. You're going to reach a certain level of self-image healing where you are going to finally see how special you are. You're going to finally see how unique you are and how amazing you are. But to make sure that you're fully locked into that and you don't question that for 1 second, you're going to encounter situations and circumstances, be placed in certain situations if you go outside, of course, which I do recommend. Otherwise, you cannot shed these things and you can't work through these things in order to see if you are fully honed in on your uniqueness, your specialness, and your value. So being in a group of people and women that are extremely powerful, extremely talented, and extremely good at what they do, of course, now my self-image is starting to take a blow. And it's starting to go, oh, I don't know if I'm that good. I don't know if I'm capable of doing that. How are they doing that? Why are they so good at that and I'm not good at that? And all of these questions start coming up. And why are they being called out? Or why are they being chosen for this? Or all of these questions start coming up. And I'm sure you felt that way before, whether it's with body image, whether it's with dating, where a guy doesn't follow through and doesn't ask you on a second date, or it turns out he was seeing someone else, whether in a friendship where you're getting less attention than the other friend, where you are literally out on the beach and someone compliments someone else instead of you. Like little things like that, right, can come up and start making you question yourself, or you do it on your own, where believe me, I have this so many times because I have beautiful people around me and my friends are gorgeous. So, and I feel like they're all gorgeous. So then I will be next to a friend and start questioning, oh, suddenly that little self-image block comes up. I should have dressed differently. Ooh, maybe I look a little like this, or maybe I look a little like that. So what this is showing me is that on my own, I've really healed my self-image, right, to a certain degree. So when I'm on my own, when I'm not around other people, I feel confident. When I'm doing my own thing, I feel confident. Then when I get put into a container of other beautiful, amazing, strong women, people, I start comparing myself. This is to show you that there are still some self-image healing blocks to work through. So this is a gift. It is a gift when this comes up, because when you can see each and every one in the room with you as powerful, amazing, creative, and the best at what they do, but at the same time, you can see yourself as the best at what you do, now you're cracking the code. And now you're fully honing in on your uniqueness. Because here's the deal. Source created each and every one of you exactly how you are meant to be made. So literally down to the mole under your left armpit, right? That was by design. You were created exactly like that for a specific purpose. So that mole may have triggered a certain self-image thing that you needed to work through in order to tap into a new zone of genius in that regard, or to be able to relate with someone that would not have felt that if you had not gone through that with that specific mole, right? So there are different things, and we can get super precise about these things. And for me, for example, my height, I know, has been a big part of my journey and my story. Having grown up in Asia for part of my childhood and being one of the tallest kids, even in comparison to adults, making me feel like I stuck out, making me feel like I didn't fit in. This was a reoccurring thing. And had I not gone through that, I would not have had the experiences that would have led me down the path that I am going down today. That would have led me to be able to tell stories that would click and resonate with people in a way that it wouldn't have had I not been this height, had I not gone through those exact things at those exact times. So you are designed absolutely perfectly. Now, whether you're fully on board with Source, the universe working for you, or not, but you believe in like a greater consciousness. Let's look at that, right? Let's look at the greater consciousness. And the greater consciousness is putting people on the planet in order to collect information, right? So that we can grow together. Now, if each and every one of us was the exact same and went through the exact same things, that wouldn't really work, would it? Like, what are we collecting? We're not collecting anything new. So for that reason, each and every one of us needs to be unique. Your soul picked your parents, picked your life path, picked everything about you and designed you for this life, literally designed you for this life. So Source would not have made a mistake with that. Why, if you look at the beauty of nature, and I have had the privilege of seeing some of the amazingness out there, why, if that is all so perfect, and why, if the ecosystem of nature and the earth is so perfect, would Source make a mistake with you? He did not. It is all about our perception and how we're seeing it. And because we are so extremely powerful and we don't know it, we create certain situations and circumstances that maybe we do not desire, but we are creating them because we are so powerful and we don't have a hold on our tools, on our powers, which you can 100% grasp and start morphing into the life that you desire. And it is incredible the things that you can start doing when you start doing this. Believe me, it is insane the amount of things that I have been able to create, tapping into my gifts and tapping into my power. And part of that is seeing your uniqueness and how special you are. And that is why my higher self and the universe is hitting me so hard with this, because it is so important to work through that. And I can hear you questioning it. And this is a question that all of us really struggle with, I think. Am I unique from everybody else, right? How can I do something when 10 other people are doing it? I want you to take this idea into your mind for a second. I thought about this, and I thought about this because when I was working as a personal trainer, there are multiple personal trainers. The people that work with you, yes, they work with you for your expertise, but they work with you mainly for you. Why someone comes back is for your energy, for what you have to offer that none of the others can. That's why people invest with you. Now, the amount that they pay depends on the skill sets and the things that you provide. So it's the skill sets and what you can do that set the price. But it is you that get people invested. And it's the same thing. Literally, you can plug and play this with relationships as well, right? It's what draws people in and what allows them to stick around and want to invest more into the relationship. What are they getting out of it? Because that is how we work. We are constantly, when we're with people, when we're in a situation or a circumstance, we're always in an exchange. And we're always in an exchange, whether that is a social exchange, we're getting something out of the conversation, whether that's us being able to tell a story, whether that's them being able to get information from us, or vice versa. We're always in an exchange. So when you can start honing in on the value that you offer, the value that you give, you start honing in on how incredibly special you are. And each and everything that you experience, each and everything that you've gone through in your life makes you special, because you and me may have encountered similar situations, but not in the exact same sequence as I have or as you have. And that is what makes it extremely unique. So each and every one of us is special. Even though it's been told and blasted to us, literally, that people literally say, you're not special, nobody's special, right? This is something that we get told every single day. And it couldn't be further from the truth, because each and every one of you is special. I guarantee that you've been through something that is so crazy that I would have never experienced, and that makes you unique. but we are so quick to downplay the experiences that we've been through. Now, I'm going to give you some examples from because I got to meet a lot of amazing people on my trip, a lot of amazing women, and all of them talented, all of them extremely good at what they do. And I started observing some of the things, and some things like clicked for me in a way that it wouldn't have had I not been able to experience this. And one of the women, her mind works completely differently to anyone I have ever met. The questions that pop up in her mind are not questions that would pop up in my mind, ever. Maybe slightly, but not exactly like her questions. And as a result of that, she will go down rabbit holes and explore avenues that I would never explore. So even if me and her had the exact same job, she is going to offer something completely different than I would. Because of the way that her brain works, because of the experiences that she's had, because of the past lives that she's had, because of her soul journey, and because of how her brain works. Her brain, her intuition works in a way that mine will not. And that is for a reason. That is because she is meant to collect that information, and I'm meant to collect completely different information. And it was so interesting to see, because here we are, and this is due to the scarcity mindset that we are all plagued with. And the majority of us, if you're not, be so grateful that you're not. This is something that is constantly, that I need to keep working through constantly. It's still a work in progress, the scarcity mindset. It's been so ingrained in us that there is not enough for everybody when there is 100% enough for everybody. And if we were to start tapping into our uniqueness, our capabilities, we would see that there is exactly enough for everybody, because each and every one of us has a specific soul journey. So that is designed for you to access, that is designed for someone else to access. So their soul is meant to access something, and my soul is meant to access something, and your soul is meant to access something. And yes, they can overlap, but the things that they have access to, right, will be interpreted completely different. I can read a book and get a completely different message out of it than if you were to read a book. Now, I can read that same book 3 years later and have a completely different experience than I had when I read it 3 years ago. And that is due to our experiences and our interpretation and the lessons that we learn. And this is how we are each unique. And we constantly get in this battle, and I do this. We get in this battle where we're like, oh, but how come they're experiencing that and I'm not? How come they're holding on to those pieces and I'm not? How come they can access this and I'm not accessing this? The question that we don't ask is whether you're meant to access that at this moment in time. Or if you were to, it would actually hold you back from what you are capable of experiencing. And this is something that has been coming up a lot lately when I've been connecting with Source, when I've been, intuiting things and looking in intuitively in things. And it's this thing of this focus that we create, this pressure that we create, and this focus on what we should be doing or should be creating. And when we focus on the should and we lock in on an image that we need to create, that's not to say that you can't have an image of what you want to create, right? But when we are too focused on what that should look like, we block something better from coming in. And we hold ourselves up in actually expanding by being too focused on how we want the expansion to happen. And this is where we get really, really hung up. Well, at least I get hung up here. And it's something that I have been working to shift through. And I start realizing, look, if I were to do the exact same and hit success at the exact same moments and times at the rate that my human self desires, right? And I tell myself I'm not special, I'm not good enough if I have not, I actually stop myself from seeing the expansion that I can create. Because when we tap into creating the thing that we want too soon before it is ready, not only will it collapse, but maybe we are missing out on certain lessons, experiences, and growth along the way that is going to allow us to tap into what we are meant to be creating. So let's say you want to be a famous pop star, right? And you have a one-hit wonder. Now you've made that one hit, but you have no idea what you did to create that one-hit wonder. It was just luck, and you create that success. Now you've created that success, but you don't know how you did it. And now you're successful for a year or 2 or 3 maybe, and then you want to repeat that, but you don't know how to repeat that because it was lucky and you didn't go through those steps. Now we can take that in different experiences, right? We can look at the personal trainer example that I gave. You've got 2 personal trainers. One of them struggles to put on muscle, put on weight, and that led them down a journey of exploring their body and getting a deeper understanding of, let's actually make 3 personal trainers, and understanding how their body worked, and they had to trial and error and work through all of that. And as a result of that, they gain specific knowledge on that specific journey in order to help people that struggle with putting on weight, eating right for their body, and getting the body goals that they want, because they struggle to gain muscle mass and shape their body and actually build muscle. Now we have another personal trainer who hasn't trained much at all, but was curious about how training works and started kind of expanding on that and found it interesting, but didn't deepen their knowledge on how training, how the body works, how nutrition works. Just thought it was fun, and her body or his body naturally looked quite strong and was naturally quite gifted at these things, and as a result became a personal trainer. Now, lastly, you could have a personal trainer that struggled to lose weight, that has struggled with body image their entire life, actually was overweight at one point, and now has managed to achieve their body goals based on the experiences, the struggles, and the things that they had to navigate in order to achieve those results. Now, all 3 of these personal trainers are personal trainers. But depending on their experiences and depending on their knowledge, they're going to attract into their life their clients that are going to work with them, that are going to be drawn to them. Because me personally, I might be more drawn to someone who had a story more similar to mine because I know what they were going through. And they know, because of all the obstacles and the hardships that they've been through with their body, they know what it feels like to go through that. Now I'm going to resonate with that more. I'm going to trust them more as a result of that. And now I am going to want to invest with that person rather than someone who kind of just does it for fun and isn't emotionally invested or hasn't actually gone through the experiences, or maybe someone who has the complete opposite body type of mine and is better suited for people who are struggling with different obstacles in their life. Now, can they all give me valuable information? 100%. But each and every one of them has a different experience, different skill sets, different history, and different journey. And because of that, they are going to have a different input on the same subject. And some may overlap and some may not. Now, I'm going to give you another example where that blew my mind when I started thinking about it. It's like when you think about YouTube. Now, I was never a big YouTube watcher. I got into it like 2 years ago, and then I really liked a couple of YouTubers because it's easy to watch, super fun, really lighthearted. And it is so interesting to see because you'll see YouTubers that have almost the exact same content. So they do the exact same idea with the exact same type of people. So if they do like they'll go investigate the most expensive gyms, for example, or they'll review 1-star hotels. Now they're doing the exact same thing and making the exact same video, But because they are completely different people, they have different experiences and their content is completely different. Now there's cooking shows where they do the exact same experiments with meat or with cooking, and I love watching those. Don't ask me why, I just do enjoy watching those. And I'll watch both. I'll watch both of them and enjoy both of them, because they bring me something different, a different perspective, even though it's the exact same video, right? They'll add something new to it that the other person wouldn't have done. Now, if you're not convinced by now that it's you that makes it special, I could make that video and it would come out completely different, and still we're doing the exact same thing. And it is just so interesting to me because we get so hung up on, me included, 100% raising my hand, like literally still something that I'm working through. We get so hung up on not being special. Like one person, especially when you get into this world, channeled a certain healing. And I'll be like, oh, I want to be able to channel that healing. But maybe I'm not meant to channel that healing because I'm meant to channel a completely different healing. And that's what makes us all unique and how our brains work. It is so funny because even when you're in the same field of work, you'll be talking about something, but my brain will make one connection, whereas someone else will make a completely different connection. Each of them just as valuable, and together they are going to be the most valuable. And that's what allows us to expand. So if you've ever been stuck and stressing about how special you are, I want you to think about your uniqueness. Talk about like your experience. What have you been through? What experiences have you been through? What relationships have you had? Where have you moved? Who have you lived with? You know, what have you experienced with your kids if you have kids? With your pets if you have pets? With your parents? Do you have a good relationship with your parents? Do you not? Like each and every one of them. Like literally, I remember, it's so crazy when I think back to this and how ingrained it is in us to want to feel special. I remember being at university and I remember sitting in a room with two girls at uni, and we were almost having a battle about who had the hardest life. Like it's so stupid. It's so stupid when I think about it now. We were literally kind of like competing who had the hardest life. And it's almost like if I didn't have a hard life, then I'm not valuable. I'm not special. I haven't been through enough. That is so wrong. And this is something, especially again, as high conscious beings, there's different experience. As high conscious beings, you are going to go through a lot of obstacles in your life because your higher self wants you to grow, wants you to expand at a faster rate than someone else might need to expand. Now, this is a question that came up also, and I've spoken to about with someone about this. If you're extremely high conscious, you may not have gone through a lot of physical trauma, but you may have gone through a lot of emotional trauma that you might not even think is that bad because you've already worked through it. But because we're energetic beings, and especially if you're high frequency, high conscious, those energetic feelings are going to feel just as intense as the physical things, if not more intense. So we're even competing a lot of the time with our uniqueness, with all the trauma that we've been through and if we've experienced enough. Now, me coming from direct family is pretty normal to a degree. I mean, they're weird, but my family, there have been struggles there, but I have people in my life that have had insane situations happening in their life. And I've actually drawn in a lot of people in my life that are friends, relationships, who have had extremely intense physical situations with their family, like whether that be a parent not being present. Now, there's a whole can of worms that I'm not going to open right now, also to keep the person in question, to be respectful to them, but a lot of like dark energy stuff going on with other people. I have a lot of these situations in my life that are not directly in my family, but are very close to me. So there's this weird thing that if we haven't been through it ourselves, then that means that, we're not special enough. We haven't been through enough, when that is not at all the case, because the emotional trauma, the mental health stuff, all of that stuff can come from completely different things that subconsciously are affecting you way more than if it were to happen to you physically. Now, this is not a battle of who's been through more or not. It is more about who's going to resonate with you. What stories are you going to be able to tell that other people are going to resonate with, and you're going to be able to understand them on a deeper level because you've been through it at that level. And then on top of that, us humans and our ego like to, how do I say that? I can't think of the right word right now. Like to underestimate or undermine how intense certain situations are because we've already been through them. So that's another thing. I was speaking to someone, they were telling me a story, and this is someone who was saying to me, like, I haven't been through that much, blah, blah, blah. And they were telling me this story, and I was like, holy crap, that is crazy that you've been through all that and that you did all this. But because we've been through it, we don't see how intense certain things are. So to someone else, that could be extremely intense, but we're so good at undermining the things that we've been through and telling ourselves that, it's not special, that we don't even see how much we've accomplished, how much we've been through, because we're already on to the next thing. And that is a trait of someone who's extremely powerful and strong. But also don't forget that each and everything that you've been through, each and everything that you've accomplished may not seem impressive to you because you've been through it and you're like, oh, well, I just did it. But in reality, it is extremely impressive. And that's just because our ego is so quick to kind of nullify the things that we've been through and kind of like neutralize it out because it's like, oh yeah, I've done it and it's fine. So this is just to say that you should not talk down on what you've been through and what you've experienced, because your level 10 of something being intense might be completely different to someone else's level 10. And it's all about how you're perceiving these things, how you're experiencing these things. And that combination makes you unique. Your experiences, your specific skill sets and gifts, your life and your soul journey, all of these things combined make you who you are and allow you to help someone specifically with something that someone else would not be able to do. And seeing how differently each and every one of these amazing women that I got to meet in person, how differently each and every one of our brains work and how differently our gifts are expanding and being able to tap into different things. The things that interest us are a sign of what we are meant to expand and grow through. I might be very interested in, connecting with pets and animals, but my soul love is not high for it. So yes, I'll do it for fun, but it's not something that I'll deep dive into. Whereas someone else will be so interested in that they will deep dive into it. And that is going to be part of their path. Whereas for me, something else is going to pique my interest, and that is going to bring me down my path. And the same thing goes for you. So in this situation, there is never a competition. There is never competition because you are the best at what you're going to do. And nobody is going to do it like you. Absolutely nobody. Because of your experiences, because of your skill sets, because of the life that you have lived, and because of who you are. Not only on a soul level, but on a human level. You and your higher self combined make you unique, make you who you are and what you are capable of. And you are not like anybody else on this planet. Sure, you'll have similarities, but those similarities combined with different things are going to make you a completely different person. So next time you catch yourself questioning if you're special, if you're good enough, remind yourself, think of certain situations that you've been through that maybe nobody else has been through. Think of the life that you've lived. Like I've lived around the world my entire life. Now, there could be someone that is just as good as almost everything that I am, if not better. But because they haven't lived around the world, that gives me an edge in a different direction than them. And because they've lived in one place their entire life, that gives them a different edge than me. Because they've experienced things in a way like that I would not have experienced, like what it's like to be in one place your whole life and to watch people grow and expand and, stuff that's happening in one town. Whereas me experiencing different cultures and languages and, different school systems, that is going to shape me in who I am and the experiences that I have. And the same thing goes for you, depending on your journey. So even thinking about just 3 things about yourself that make you unique. The combination of those 3 that nobody else has. And just fully sitting and landing with that. And realizing that you are 100% special. This is a program that we have been told that we are not special. But you are. And it couldn't be any other way. Because your soul fought to be in this realm, which inherently makes you special, which makes you unique. Your experiences, your skill sets, all of these. And the cool thing is when you start tapping into your intuition or you get an intuitive to look in on your specific skill sets, it's your specific mastery skill sets that are going to set the precedent for what you are going to do. That combined with your experiences and what you've been through. Now, just before we finish off this little, I don't know if it's a rant, maybe it's a little bit of a rant. I want to give you one other perspective shift that really helped me. And especially when you start becoming surrounded with people that make you question if you're special or not, in the way of, oh, you feel like they're more special than you, or they have more accomplished more than you, or they, when you start questioning your capabilities because of people around you being super talented, being really amazing at what they do, and that could be in any regard, right? In family life, in professional life, in relationships. The only reason you are in the room with them or surrounded with them and hearing about the things that they're accomplishing is because you are an energetic match to those things happening for you. So this perspective shift is going to shift things for you, because when you start seeing these interactions and these people coming into your life, wealthy people, successful people, people that are achieving the things that you are wanting to achieve and at the rate that you are wanting to achieve them, when you start seeing that more and more in your life, it is not to show you that you are behind or delayed. It is literally a sign that you are becoming an energetic match to that happening to you. This is the first stages of that coming into fruition in your life. So instead of going, oh, I wish I was there, you are there. You are getting a step closer to that because you are an energetic match to those people in your life having that. Otherwise, you would not be surrounded by that. With this perspective shift, you can start focusing on how the thing that you are asking for or the thing that you are working towards, asking for and working towards, is starting to manifest. The signs are in the people, the situations, the things that you start seeing happening around you. They are all signs that it is going to happen for you. The more we focus on that, the more we see it coming to us, the more it starts to expand and we start seeing the steps to getting to that. Because let me ask you, how would you feel if you were in a room full of billionaires? That would be a sign that you are meant to be in that room, right? Like, doesn't that mean you are close or you are already successful. Otherwise, why would you be in that room? And I could even, look, I can hear some of you asking, yeah, but what if you're like catering at a party for those billionaires? You're still in the room with them, which means you're an energetic match to that wealth. You got that job working for them, which means you're one step closer to getting there. So start paying attention to that. Start shifting the perspective of, I wish I was there, into, ooh, this means that I am getting closer. This has been a game changer for me, and I think it will be for you too. All right, beautiful. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I hope it shifted your perspective in a way that you may not have had the click yet. At least this allowed me to see things very differently. And just remember that you are so valuable, so special, and so unique. And the moment you start seeing that more, that is going to amplify in your creator field, and other people are going to see that too. And that is going to allow you to start attracting those things into your life that you've been wanting to attract into your life so badly. It all starts with you and seeing your value. That was it for today. And I hope to see you in some of the live events or in the next podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and see you very soon. Thank you so much for listening to You Can Call Me Goddess. I am so happy that you joined us in this show today. If you feel like this podcast gave you any sort of life change or value, then share it with someone you think would also get a lot of value out of it, because maybe it could just be that one thing that changes that person's life. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a nice rating below or in the show, because we would love to expand more on topics that you enjoy and keep this podcast up and running. Anyways, thank you, beautiful, and I hope to see you in the next podcast.